Welcome, everyone. We still have 20 minutes to go. We're going to be joining in some time. Until then, please make yourself comfortable. Thank you. Hey, Madhavi, happy to see you. Could you confirm if you can see my message in the chat box, please? If you're with me, thank you. Dear Aisha, I'm putting a message in the chat box. Can you see my message? We still have about 12 minutes to start. So we're just going to check if the operations are okay until everybody joins us here. Thank you. Until then, could you please confirm if you can see my screen? Thank you. Aisha, could you try maybe typing something in the Q&A section? Let me see if I'm able to see your message or not. Thank you. Yes, I can see your message. Thank you. Lovely. Can you see my reply, Aisha? Perfect. So we'll try using the Q&A section to ask and answer questions, yeah? Thank you. I think that should help. Dear Madhavi, I hope you can see the Q&A section. So you can use the Q&A section to ask or answer questions. Thank you. So for all the participants, we still have 10 minutes to go. I'm just making sure that everything is working properly, and we shall start once everybody's joined. Thank you. Welcome, welcome, welcome to all the friends in the room so far. Sneha, Ranjita, Madhavi, Aisha, and Akash. We still have 7 minutes to go, so we're just going to be starting in a short while, waiting for all of the other participants to join. Until then, I'm just making sure that all the technicalities are all right. Thank you. If you have any questions or you want to chat, please use the Q&A section in the list. If you can just drop hi in Q&A, that'll help me understand that you're there. Thank you. Thank you, Ranjita. Thank you very much. I can see Ranjita's hi. So throughout the session, if you have any questions or there are going to be multiple activities you want to answer, feel free to use the Q&A section to put your answers in it. Thank you. Where's everybody from? Hi, Sneha. Very good evening to you. Thank you. If you can see my screen, could you please confirm that as well, please? Thank you. Sorry, I think I was on the mute mode. I was just welcoming everybody. Amrita and Tasni, good to see you. We're just going to be starting in a short while. Thank you. And just to reiterate, please use the Q&A section in case you want to ask or answer any questions from there. Thank you. Hi, Tasni. I don't know if you did that inadvertently. Yes, good evening to you. Happy to see you again. We'll just start in a short while. Thank you. Until then, until other people join us, since we're very close to starting, I've got a very interesting game for all of us. And that game is, before we start and I talk about what the aims of today's webinar is going to be, could you please take some time and think about what are some of the biggest classroom management challenges that you've faced in the past? I repeat, what are some of the biggest classroom management challenges that you've faced in the past? Could you think about it and possibly let me know, maybe in one sentence, in the Q&A section, please? Thank you. So until other people join us, think about this question, and I will take this forward from there. Thank you. All right, so I hope it is 4 o'clock here. Good evening, everyone, and I hope it is 8:30. I'm sure it is 8:30 in India. Welcome to ESOL. My name is Krishna Triya, and I welcome you to this very interesting webinar series that we are starting with today for all our beloved teachers, ESL teachers. If you're able to hear me, can you please type yes in the Q&A section? Thank you. I repeat, if you're able to hear me, can you please type yes in the Q&A section? Thank you. Okay, thank you, Ranjita, for the answer. Thank you, Sneha, Kranti, Nehali, Ranjita. Once again, my name is Krishna Triya. I work as a teacher trainer and also an academic manager at ESOL. And today is the first webinar series that we are starting at ESOL, primarily meant to help teachers, all of us, who have or who have been teaching or who have ever taught language, who identify as linguists. So I welcome you all to this very important session today. I'm going to share my screen. If you're able to see my screen, please show me a big, gigantic, mahusive thumbs up. Thank you. You can either show a thumbs up or you can type yes in the Q&A section. Thank you. All right, lovely. So first of all, before we get started with this session, I would like to say that this is going to be a very interactive session. Yes, you may not be able to talk, but you have to continuously interact with me in the Q&A section, because I have incorporated a lot of activities for you, activities that will actually take you through the real active learning process that we do in our teacher training programs. The only difference is there you can interact. Everybody works together as a group, but here I'm going to be talking for some time. One disclaimer though, although it said that it's going to be for 45 minutes, but as I was making the training session for you in the morning, I realized that it may just exceed 55 minutes. So please bear with me. As you know, the theme of today's webinar is effective classroom management, strategies for language teachers. And what are we going to be talking about in this? I'm just going to enlarge this a bit for you. I hope you're able to see it. So in this session today, we will understand what are some of the challenges that you face as teachers in the language classroom related to classroom management. Not only that, we're also going to be talking about research-based strategies that you can use to motivate your students, most importantly, to be not just attentive, but enjoy the entire learning process in the classroom. Besides that, we're also going to be talking about some important techniques of managing certain problems that arise, constraints in the classroom. And there are 3 types of constraints. We're going to be actually not 3, there are many types of constraints. So we're going to be talking about those constraints as well. And just a moment. And besides that, finally, we will talk about the evolving role of a language teacher in our society today. For those people who do not know me, my name is Krishna Triya. I live in London. I have been teaching languages for almost 2 decades now, and I identify myself as a linguist. And there are many teachers from the teacher training programs who have joined us in the room. Thasni, Nihali, Madhvi, Aisha, good to see you guys. Akash as well. Akash is in our upcoming batches. So a big hi to all of you, and a big hi to all the new members and teachers as well. So if you're ready, please show me a thumbs up. Shall we get started? Excellent, lovely. I'm waiting for a few other thumbs ups as well. Bravo, super. So without further ado, let's begin. The first game that I have for all of us is this. Could you take 1 minute and think about what is the biggest classroom management challenge that you faced? I repeat, please think about the biggest classroom management challenge that you faced in your career. For example, the biggest challenge that I faced is, and think about different kinds of students that you've had, young learners and adults as well. For example, the biggest challenge that I have faced is just the fact when they're not motivated. So they have zero intrinsic motivation. That I think becomes a big challenge, because instead of focusing on the course and finishing the content, you rather focus on the motivation. So that becomes a big challenge. What about you? What challenge have you faced? Ranjita put her answers about 10 minutes ago. Ranjita said, keeping students attentive for long period, especially when you have 2 classes together. That's quite a thing. Thank you, Ranjita, for answering. I'll give you 1 more minute. Thank you, Sakshi. Sakshi says, maintenance of attention. Nice. Let's take 1 more minute. I'll read out your answers. Thank you. Thank you, Ulka, for your answer. Engaging classroom. The class needs to be engaging as well. Thank you. I agree. Any other answers? Guys, come on. I'd love to hear from all of you. There are many people in the room right now. What about Amrita, Fazila, Kranti, Mayuri, Rakesh, Ravneet, Sagar? What do you guys feel? Thank you. Well, thank you. Rakesh says, engaging students focused and attentive, along with speaking practice, especially for introverted students. That's a very good point, Rakesh. Thank you for mentioning that. Nehali says lack of focus. I think there's actually a growing trend of everybody talking about just attention. Sneha says, students skip language classes in senior college. Yeah, I think you're right, Sneha. There was once a teacher who joined ESOL. Her name is Soumya. She did a voice and accent training course. And she was basically talking about how Government of India has made it mandatory to teach voice and accent, even at university level. She was a professor at a university in Bangalore. So, and during senior college, students feel that it's not important, especially polishing their language, which I think is it's a sad thing, because they feel the brunt of it later. Ravneet says knowledge inclination towards practical implication. That's quite a research language. Thank you, Ravneet. Thank you, Ritika. Eliciting their responses, experiences extended. Thank you. You're welcome, Sakshi. Making learning fun and disciplined. Thank you. Thank you, Yashwant. They are not at a recipient end. Thank you. Can we take a moment to actually, you can give a clap icon for everybody, if you can. Let's clap for everybody. Thank you so much for giving your responses. Superb. Thank you. We appreciate. Why am I asking this? Because the next activity that we're going to do is actually related to this. Please have a look. According to research, Miranda Lewis, 2024, published a research. And according to her, that's good to know, Sagar. Thank you. According to Lewis, she's a linguist and she's a researcher. Now, she's a doctorate researcher. She mentions that there are multiple challenges that can be divided in 3 categories. Listen carefully. There are multiple challenges, and especially challenges that you guys have spoken about. It can be divided in 3 categories: motivation, constraints, and teacher's role. जितने भी challenges अभी तक आप लोगों ने बताए हैं, all of these challenges can be put into 3 different categories according to research. Once again, we call it MCT, TCM, whatever you want to call it, for ease of understanding. Either it's related to motivation or constraints, or for that matter, teacher's role. And in this session today, we're just going to be elucidating on all of these. So if you guys are ready, show me a big thumbs up once again. Perfect, lovely, thank you. Of course I do. Here we go. Please have a look. So the first activity that I have for all of you is this. Everybody, your attention is required. Try sitting at a quiet place, please. The first game, do not read, please listen to me. I repeat, do not read, listen to me. I have written the definitions of 3 types of challenges: motivation, constraints, and teacher's role. Could you take 1 minute, read the definitions? It's not a competition. Read the definition one by one and decide, fill in the blank spaces. Is it motivation, constraints, or teacher's role? If you understand the game, show me a big thumbs up. I repeat, if you understand the game, show me a big thumbs up. All right, 1 minute starts now. Thank you. When you're done, just put your answers in the Q&A. Thank you. When you're done, just put your answers in the Q&A. Thank you. The time is up. I'll give you another thank you. Thank you, Kranti. Thank you, Yashwant. Waiting for the answers of other people as well. Thank you, Akshar. Thank you. Thank you, Nihali. Thank you, Ulka, Kranti, Sneha. All right, so are you guys ready? The first one is referring to factors that influence students' desire. Ladies and gentlemen, this one is here, motivation. So if you wrote motivation, bingo. Motivation is, in fact, correct. So this one is motivation. Next one, elements that teachers believe are preventing them from creating an ideal learning experience. For example, resource nahi hai, class mein enough chairs nahi hai, internet sahi se nahi chal raha, and there are a lot of other factors. So all of this is called, it falls under the category of constraints. Thank you very much. Many people are right. Superb. Wow. Rakesh, Sakshi, Sagar. Okay. Very nice, guys. Wonderful answers. And number 3 that we have, apparently the hardest one here in the list, is teacher's role, which emphasizes on, sorry, I'm just going to delete that. Teacher's role, which basically emphasizes on the expectations and responsibility of us as linguists in the language classroom. For example, we have to make sure that students with various learning needs work together. We are adapting the language material. We are incorporating various sorts of activities in the language classroom. So there are challenges that can arise because of our role, and not our role, it's the incapability of our role, or the incapacity of our role. So thank you very much for all your answers. Can we clap for everybody? Super. So as we can see on the screen, 3 तरह के language classroom management में challenges होते हैं. All the challenges in the world can be divided in 3 categories: motivation, constraints, and teacher's role. But why are we talking about this? We're talking about this because until we know what the problems are, how can we talk about the solution? So let's just go back to what the theme of today's webinar is. The theme of today's webinar is, please have a look, effective classroom management. और ये कब possible नहीं होता? When are you not able to manage your class properly? When there are problems. So what are the different kinds of problems? Well, there can be gazillion types of problems, but most importantly that we got to focus in mind is the categories of problems. So the categories can be students' motivation, physical constraints or other different kinds of constraints in the classroom, or teacher's role, not being able to handle multiple roles and responsibilities in the language classroom. So now we understand what the categories are. If you understand so far, please show me a thumbs up. Or if you have any questions, feel free to ask that question in the chat box. I will give you 1 minute to do that. I repeat, if you have any questions, feel free to put that in the chat box. I'll give you 1 minute for it. Thank you. Whatever we have discussed, in case you have any questions, please do ask in the chat box. If you do not have any questions, you can just simply show me a peace sign. Thank you. I repeat, in case you have no questions, just show me a peace sign. Thank you. Already. Cool. Akash is asking, any assessment for teacher's role? Akash, I think this is a wonderful question, and there are many assessments for teachers, and especially during teacher training programs, especially when you're doing when you're conducting the lesson in real-time experience. Every lesson requires you to be adaptive. Students हमेशा same level के नहीं आएंगे. Materials हमेशा same use नहीं होगा. And there are so many other things in the classroom. There can be technical problems as well. कई बार activities नहीं चलेंगी for that matter. For example, I'll tell you what happened today. Before I started this webinar, chat box open होना था आज के webinar में. And the chat box is shut because of some technical glitch. So that means you guys are not able to use chat box. So you need to be adaptive as a linguist, or any teacher for that matter. So instead of using the chat box, I decided for you guys to be comfortable with Q&A section to ask your questions. So when it comes to assessment, आपकी assessment रोजाना language classroom में होती है, in the sense that you have to be adaptive to what you're doing. and you have to be out there with your role, being cognizant of the fact that there can be multiple challenges that you'll face in the classroom. Getting past it and not even letting your students feel that there's a challenge that you're facing is one of the most important testaments of you being a great teacher. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you. If that answers your question, please show me a peace sign. You're welcome. Thank you. All right, let's move ahead. I have a question for all of you. This is a very interesting game. Actually, before we play this game, I have a poll for you. I'm going to start a poll, okay? Read the question. What is your biggest classroom management challenge? Give your answers. I'll give you guys some time. Read the options. I'll publish the results. Let's see what happens. What is your biggest classroom management challenge? 13 people have answered, waiting for other people. 15 people have answered, 16 people, 17, lovely. There are 25 teachers in the room. Everybody, please answer the question. I'm going to publish the results. Let's see kya hota hai. Thank you. "20 teachers have answered." Wow, the results are quite interesting. That's interesting. 3 teachers are left. Guys, waiting for your answers. What is your biggest classroom management challenge? There are 25 teachers in the room. 22 have answered. Waiting for the other 3. Maybe they're not here. Shall I publish the results? Show me a thumbs up if you want me to publish the results. Okay. Before we publish the result, I want to ask you, what do you think, which answer has got the highest votes? I repeat, in your opinion, which answer do you think has got the highest votes? It's so funny, my God. All right. The answer that has gotten the highest score is D. It's actually D. Ritika is right. Ritika, Akash, thank you for all the answers. Nonetheless, D is right. Were you able to see the results though? Could you tell me? I published the results. Were you able to see it? Show me a thumbs up if you were able to. Okay, cool. Thank you. I'm just going to hide the results now. Thank you so much. 50% of the teachers believe that managing mixed ability class is the biggest challenge that they face. Let me show your big heart to you. You are 100% right. This particular incident makes me recall a time when I was teaching in Canada, and I had one of my teachers. Her name was Megha Malhotra. It was a Canadian school, and it was my second day, and I had to cover for a teacher. And I was a young teacher, very, very young teacher. I was just 19 years old. My God. And I said, Megha, how should I teach? My God, I've got nothing to teach. And it was a mixed ability class. Megha said, welcome to the world of ESL, wherein every day is going to be a challenge. Your job as a teacher is to overcome that challenge and come out smelling of roses. So thank you. Let's move on to the next part. We have a very interesting game now. Please have a look. I've written 8 sentences on the screen. This game is called Categorizing Challenges. I repeat, this game is called Categorizing Challenges. Please read 8 sentences that I've written on the screen. You've got to decide what kind of challenge is it. I repeat, read the 8 sentences. You have to decide what kind of challenge is it. Is it motivation? Is it constraint? Or is it teacher's role related? Please note, some of these challenges may have 2 answers. I'll give you 3 minutes to do this. When you finish, please put all the answers together in the chat box. एक एक करके मत डालना, please answer. सब एक साथ ही डालना when the entire answer is ready. It'll be easier for me to see. How much time do we have? Can anybody tell in the chat box? How many minutes do we have? I'll repeat the instructions again. Do you want me to repeat? Show me a thumbs up if you'd like me to repeat. 3 minutes. Okay, cool. Thank you. Thank you, Kranti. Thank you, Ulka. We have 3 minutes. Let's do number 1 together as an example. Students in our school are learning English because they have to. It makes motivation really difficult for the teacher. So what kind of challenge is it? The answer is already given. Answer is already given in the question. Motivation. Hello, Bello. It already says it is motivation. Please have a look. Yeah. So this challenge is related to motivation. 3 minutes. I'm going to start the timer. You'll be able to see the timer as well, hopefully. Your time starts now. Thank you. There's no rush. Please read carefully. When you're ready, just put all the answers all at once. Thank you. In the Q&A section. Thanks. And the time is up. Thank you very much. Could you kindly please put all your answers in the chat box now? Thank you, Ulka. I'll also put all the answers in the chat box. Waiting for other teachers to please put the answer. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Rakesh. Mazabeen. Okay. Waiting for other teachers. Thank you. ABC. Seventh one is ABC. Okay. Okay. So the first one, I'm putting my answers in the chat box. Thank you, Kranti. Guys, waiting for other teachers as well. There are many teachers still waiting for your answers. Thank you. So the first one is motivation, apparently, as we discussed. Second one is, just one moment. Second one, where it is about how can we organize group work. So when it comes to organize, when the desks are all fixed to the floor in rows, बहुत सारे classrooms में ऐसा होता है इंडिया में, when the desks are actually fixed and it's very not reliable, then apparently it is constraints. Thank you very much for putting your answers. I'm broadcasting my answers to all. Number 3 is classes are huge. Organizing tasks, things messy, students finishing ahead of others, wasting their time. I think it is Lagturai teacher's role in managing the class. I think it's a blend of both constraints and teacher's role as well. I'm putting the answers in the chat box. Number 4, achieve examination results. Anything that doesn't lead is not valued by the school or the parent. That's very important. कई बार ऐसा होता है, you know, that teachers को और school को बस result से मतलब है, but there are so many developmental skills that are required as well for a student, transferable skills as well, and all of that takes time. So number 4 is definitely constraint because external factors are impacting, but it can definitely be a part of motivation as well क्योंकि teacher का motivation down हो रहा है. Number 5, it's hard to access authentic material for my teaching. Okay, the school is not providing enough, what do you call it, resources. So number 5, Ravneet, I'm going to be reading what you've written in a short while. Please allow me some time, Ravneet. Thank you. Number 6, tradition is for the teachers to be at the front by the board all the time. But in our teacher training course, they mentioned walking around the room. How could I keep control if I did that? Wow, I loved point number 6. If point number 6 has ever happened to you, please show me a thumbs up. Point number 6 has ever happened to you, show me a big thumbs up. क्योंकि हमारे TESOL program में and हर जगह basically we show and talk about teachers moving around quite a lot. लेकिन school ने ऐसे restrictions बना रखे हैं that you have to stand at the board and it has to be very centralized power and training, which is not good. So I'm afraid it is related to constraints. Sorry, we were talking about number 6. So it is related to teacher's role. Thank you. Number 7, again, I think is teacher's role. Traditional way is a grammar translation method. We also call it GTM. GTM se kaise pichha chudaएं, and then how do we move towards CLT, communicative language teaching, is very important, and therefore it is related to teacher's role again. Thank you, Sagar, for all the answers. Perfect. Moving to the next one, last one. How do experienced teachers manage when all the students are at different levels? Absolutely. Jo hum sabka problem tha. 50% of the teachers in the room said. It is definitely constraints and a blend of teachers' role as well. Thank you. I have put all the answers in the chat box so you can navigate and see what your answers are in relation to what I have mentioned as well. I'll put all of these answers once again all together in the chat box now. so that you can tally these answers with yours. Do you have any questions from here? Feel free to ask if you have any questions. Guys, I just want to make sure I don't rush into this training. This is going to be slightly longer than what we expected. Thank you. Ravneet, I'm going to read your comment now. Students are there to learn and teachers feel motivated by get their success, make students understand about language or agenda of the day. We can make small groups and play with counting 64, where entire class gets engaged and learn. Yes, I would totally agree. Thank you very much for that comment. If you do not have any questions, please show me a peace emoji. Thank you. Let's get started. एक और poll question आने वाला है आपके सामने. Have a look at the question, please. Which motivation strategy do you think will be most effective in your classroom? Connecting language learners, using authentic material, implementing a reward system, or organizing guest speaker visits? I'll give you 1 minute. Take your time. Let me know what your answers are. Thank you for all the answers. Waiting for 10 teachers to give the answers. There are 26 teachers in the room right now with us. Thank you. 16 colleagues have answered already. Let's do a quick guesswork before I publish the result. Which do you think has the most answers? Come on, everyone. Akash, thank you for that question. Communicative grammar तो मुझे नहीं पता क्या होता है, but communicative language teaching is a concept, CLT, which was coined during the 1970s. Communicative language teaching means एक language classroom में आप हर एक activity को speaking का angle कैसे दे सकते हैं. That is related to communicative language teaching. I repeat, how can you make a language lesson speaking focused? That means the focus is not on grammar, the focus is on fluency. And therefore, all the activities are related to, in fact, CLT. Or if not all, majorly most of the activities are related to CLT. Thank you, Aisha. Thank you, Ulka. I'm afraid it's a different answer. I'm going to publish the results now. Only 18 teachers have responded yet. There's a poll, guys. You have to respond. I'm going to publish the results now. 30. Okay, I'm going to publish it now. 38% of the teachers believe connecting language learners is a better way of motivating them. Thank you. That's quite interesting. Thank you very much. Let's move on. So this was the first part of the lesson today, of the webinar today. Let's move to the next part. I would like one person to please read this sentence. I repeat, I would like one person to read this sentence. Who wants to read it? Please say I in the chat box. When you say I, I'm going to be unmuting your audio. So who wants to read it? Please say I. Okay, sorry, I'm just gonna go with Thasneez. I saw Thasneez I first. My apologies. Okay, Thasneez, I'm gonna go with you. Just one moment. Thasneez, you can talk now. Thank you. Please unmute yourself. Tasni, you have to unmute yourself.
Am I audible right now?
Yes, perfect. Please go ahead.
Good evening, Krish. So the queries are like teachers encourage language use through both intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. Some students have strong intrinsic motivation. They know the benefits of learning a particular language. Other needs to be reminded of where success could lead.
Thank you so much. Can we clap for Tasni, please? Thank you, Tasni. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. You can mute. Perfect. Thank you. Do you guys agree with this or do you disagree with this? Show me a thumbs up, please. Thank you. If you disagree, you can show a thumbs down as well. That's okay. Don't worry about that. Okay. Why are we discussing this? These are my favorite words here. Please listen carefully. These are my favorite words here. These words are intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. For the next 5 minutes, we're going to be talking about intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. Very, very important concepts. When you do something where you are andar se motivated, when I say andar se in Desi, when you are, when nobody has to motivate you, you're just naturally motivated. That's called intrinsic motivation. And there are students who are just naturally motivated in the language classroom. Teachers love to work with them. On the other hand, if you have students who you have to motivate, or there's an extrinsic motivation factor, for example, competition in the classroom, or for that matter, they're going to get a certificate, or for that matter, teacher has to do something to motivate them. That's called extrinsic motivation-driven students. Would you like me to repeat? If you want me to repeat, please show a peace sign. If you want me to move on, please show a thumbs up. Okay, cool. Here we go. May I please request, the game is, look at all the 8 sentences on the screen. You have to tell me, is this intrinsic motivation or is this extrinsic motivation? There are 8 strategies on the screen. If you want me to make it slightly big, thank you. I hope this helps. There are 8 strategies on the screen. You have to tell me, is this intrinsic motivation or extrinsic motivation? You get a total of 3 minutes. Let's do number 1 together. Emphasizing the ability to read English literature in its original form. What do you guys feel? What is it? A student has the ability to read English literature in its original form. It is intrinsic motivation, I'm afraid, not extrinsic. The teacher doesn't have to bring, the student does it automatically. Maybe that's why many teachers believe. Thank you, Rakesh, Ulka, and Kranti for the answers. It's intrinsic motivation, I'm afraid. Could you do the rest of it yourselves? I'm going to start the timer, 3 minutes. After that, we'll discuss the answers together. Thank you. Could you please put your answers when you're ready? Thank you. Thank you, Mayuri. Thank you, Kranti. Thank you, Rakesh. Ulka. Sagar. Thank you. I see there are many teachers who've actually written extrinsic for the first one. And I would agree with you guys as I was thinking about it. I think from the perspective of a teacher, agar teacher emphasize kar rahe hain wo cheez karne ke liye, I mean, emphasizing the role of reading in the original literature, then I would say it is extrinsic motivating factor. But otherwise, if the student wants to do it, then it would be intrinsic. Thank you, Kranti, for the answers. So, especially with the first one, if this appeals to the student's internal desire, then intrinsic. Number 2 is extrinsic. Number 3 is intrinsic, because this connects to language learning to personal career goals and aspirations. कि मुझे कामयाब होना है in that sense. Especially a lot of what do you call it? A lot of teachers, engineers, managers in India want to improve their communication skills because internal desire hai that they have very good qualifications, but they're still not able to get the job. So that is the internal, I'm afraid. Number 3 is intrinsic motivation. Number 4 is extrinsic. That's right. Number 5 is intrinsic again. Number 5 is intrinsic because this links to I'm also going to provide the justification in the chat box. Number 5 is intrinsic because it is language skills that is connected to personal growth and international opportunities. Number 6 is extrinsic. Many people are right. Yep, that's right. Very good. Thank you. Number 6 is extrinsic. 7 and 8, they both have same answers. Like Ranjita, thank you. 7 and 8 are both same answers. It is intrinsic. Thank you very much. Lekin, why are we doing this? What is the purpose of doing all of this? Okay, Sagar has a question. Sagar, just allow me one moment. The purpose of doing this is, as a teacher, every batch is going to be different for you. Every batch will have their own set of intrinsic and extrinsic factors that you will have to understand. And sometimes it does take a passage of, it does take some time for you to be able to get the nerve off the batch. Even when you are 20 years old in teaching, when you step into a classroom, maybe you're not nervous, but you're not oppressed with what the classroom is about, what the vibe of the batch is about. Only when you start talking do you understand what the motivations are, what the reasons are of joining. And therefore, along the lines, you play with the different strategies that you want to employ in the classroom, if it is intrinsic or extrinsic. Thank you. Oh, lovely. Rakesh has all correct. Can we clap for Rakesh, please? Or anybody who has all correct. Thank you. Sagar, I'm going to be looking at your question. Number 5, you're saying, linking language skills directly to external opportunities like business travel. Isn't that an example of extrinsic motivation? Thank you, Sagar. That is a very good question. When we say external factor, we mean that teacher को कुछ externally करना पड़ रहा है उनको motivate करने के लिए, उनको trigger करने के लिए. I repeat, the teacher has to do something external to trigger them, to motivate and to entice their interest in the classroom. That's called triggering extrinsic motivation. However, जब उनको खुद ही कामयाब होना है, that is directly related to their own motivation. अंदर से निकल रहा है यार मुझे सीखना है because कामयाब होना है. That is intrinsic motivation. If you've understood this, please show me a thumbs up. In case you have any questions, I welcome follow-up questions as well. Guys, if there are no questions, please show me a peace sign. Otherwise, ask the question. Okay, thank you. So far, so good. I hope it is not too fast, not too slow. Show me a thumbs up. Okay, thank you. I have one question for all of us. Which constraint is most challenging in your teaching context? Different तरह के constraints हमने बात करी है, physical constraints and management constraints. आपके लिए, which constraint is the most challenging in the world where you teach? Thank you. Nine teachers have answered, waiting for other teachers. Guys, there are 27 colleagues in the room. Everybody, please answer the question. Thank you. May I please request everyone to answer their questions? Again, we have 50% of the class, 50% of the room that is on one side. And I can so feel you when you give this answer. "14 teachers have answered. There are 13 teachers who have not answered yet. Thank you. 10 teachers pending. Thank you very much. Dear colleagues, may I request you if you could answer? Four teachers left. Thank you. Everybody else has answered. Which answer do you think is the most common? Yashwant, the poll is live. I repeat, Yashwant, the poll is live. Everybody, what do you think which answer? Okay, thank you, Ranjita. Ranjita, you are actually right. My God, 57% of the teachers, 54 now, believe that pressure to teach to standardization is a problem. Standardized tests. And I'm really sorry to know that. It should not happen. Generally, a solution to this is, I've been a part of the same problem as well during my career. Generally, a solution to this is maybe a longer duration of the course, but then students do not prefer longer duration. So ESL schools prefer to have shorter durations, and therefore पूरा ecosystem ही ऐसा है wherein we as teachers feel pressurized to teach to standardized tests. We can't play around their skills too much. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoying the polling system here. Sneha, Kranti, Ulka, Ranjita, everybody has correct answers. Let's move on. Thank you. Thank you. In case you have any questions, you can raise your questions as well, and I can let you speak. I'm sorry, there's a system where I have to allow every time when there is somebody. Maybe that's how the engineers have sort of put the system. My apologies for that. Thank you. If you have a question, we'll take the questions in the end, and you will be able to speak as well in the end. So thank you. Abhi aage badhe, bhai log. Any questions? If you think I can move ahead, please show me a thumbs up or say yes. Thank you, Sakshi. Sakshi, we're going to be talking about this for grabbing students' attention. Balki jo chal raha hai, we're actually talking about how to grab their attention by really targeting what their motivation is. Are they intrinsically driven or are they extrinsically driven is what we're targeting to understand right now. Okay, I would like one person to please read this. अभी तक तो हमने बात करी extrinsic motivation के बारे में, how useful it is, but there's a downside to it as well. We need to be cautious with it. So who would like to read? Please say I. Okay, Sagar. Yes. Okay. Please allow me a moment. Just one moment, please. Sagar, I think you can speak now. Thank you.
Am I audible?
Yes. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. One year, 1996, reports from one of his classes. He had organized a grammar game involving two teams as a means of motivating students. Oh, I think the screen just froze. Hang on. I don't see the text anymore. Okay, it's back.
We share it again. Just one moment here.
Yes, please.
Can you see it now? Sagar, can you see it now?
Yes. Right. One year, 1996 report. Oh, and I think there's some issue. Just 1 minute. Okay. And let me just try to. Yeah, this should be fine. I'm so sorry about it. One year, 1996, reports from one of his classes. He had organized a grammar game involving two teams as a means of motivating students. But unfortunately, the teams became so competitive that they argued over every point and were quickly diverted from the grammar point.
Thank you so much. Can we clap for Sagar, please? Thank you, Sagar. Thank you. Alrighty. Do you guys agree with Sagar, or do you have a different opinion? If you agree, please show a thumbs up. Agree with Sagar? Thank you. I 100% agree with what Sagar has written. कई बार ऐसा होता है, competition की बजाय लड़ाई होने लगती है. So your idea is that you want to basically introduce a sense of vigor in the classroom. But what ends up delivering is a sense of a bitter moment, actually. So the idea that we are trying to stress on here is that that bitterness that is caused because of certain factors of extrinsic motivation that we're trying to bring in also can cause some troubles. So as a teacher, we need to be slightly cautious of how we are playing around. And as a matter of fact, take control. If there is something like this that's happening, well, we can't control what's happening, but we can control the direction of it. We can't control what has happened, but we can control the direction of where it leads to. And I think that would be a good lesson for everybody as well. So then the authoritative nature of the ESL teacher changes in the classroom. Then you become more of a leader. And this is what you need to remember always. You are the boss and you give the directions to where the class leads. And that's how the students are inspired by you, as a matter of fact. So दोनों के advantages, disadvantages हैं. The idea is when you're incorporating any factor related to extrinsic motivation, just be cautious. Thank you. So that's what it primarily meant to tell us. Let's move on. Now, in a monolingual class, what is the meaning of monolingual, by the way? Can anybody tell us the definition in the chat box, please? What is the meaning of monolingual? Thank you, Tasneem. Thank you, Rakesh. Class which speaks single language. Thank you, Sagar. Tasneem, Rakesh, Sagar, lovely. So in a monolingual class, what are some strategies that you can use? I would like you to please take a screenshot of this. I repeat, I would like you to please take a screenshot or a picture of this. आप अपनी class में role play introduce कर सकते हैं. And then in your class, you can invite a native speaker, a native speaking visitor, or native level speaker who can answer questions related to their topics. You can organize concert in class where there are plays and singing activities. If you're teaching for 2 months, 2 months में एक दिन तो ऐसा होना चाहिए, they will not forget your class ever. Then you can involve concepts of pen friend, group presentation, inter-class debate, speech competitions. I think last 3 तो बहुत ही ज़्यादा famous हैं, but top 4 are something that you can incorporate. Can you tell me which one do you think is something that you would like to use in the next class? Which of these strategies or activities would you like to use in your upcoming class? Thank you, Ulka. Two. Number 2 is my favorite as well, Ulka. I thought about it for a long time. Thank you. Thank you, Rakesh. Tasni. Perfect. Different things for different teachers. We're almost inching towards the end of what we have to do today. Guys, I was wondering, we will do this in the classroom, but I would like you to please take a screenshot of this scenario, and you have to tell us what, how would you develop the strategy? I would have loved you to participate in this, but I'm slightly conscious of the time and we've exceeded it. It's 1 hour. Can you stay back for another 10 minutes? I'll try wrapping it up in another 10 minutes. Are you okay with that? Show me a thumbs up, please. Perfect. Thank you. Lovely. Let's move ahead. So please take a screenshot of this. I'm going to give you another 5 seconds. Thank you. Let's see abhi tak humne kya kara hai. What have we spoken about so far? So far we have understood what are the different challenges that we face. We've also explored a few strategies of motivating students by targeting their intrinsic and extrinsic motivation factors. We've also spoken about how to manage constraints. Rather, there's an activity that I'm going to show now. And then towards the end, we're going to be talking about the evolving role of the language teacher. So there are 2 activities that are left. Let's finish these activities very, very quickly. Okay. So there are different kinds of constraints that we face in the classroom. What is the meaning of constraint? Who remembers what is constraint? In the chat box, please. Yes, Vinita, I'm just going to go back. Just give me one moment. What is the meaning of constraint? We discussed it, limitations. Thank you. Rakesh is right. Thank you, Rakesh. You're 100% right. Vinita, if you're done with the screenshot, please let me know. Thank you, Kranti. Challenges faced by teachers. Lovely. Thank you, Mayuri. Limitations. Ulka, thank you. Hi, Vinita. If you're done with the screenshot, let me know in the chat box with a yes. Thank you. Hi, Vinita. Are you there? Sorry, I'll just move forward. Thank you. So there are different kinds of constraints that there are in the classroom. For example, fixed furniture, large classes, limited photocopying, multi-level classes. Multi-level class was a very famous one today, as we discussed. Lack of authentic material, students finishing at different times, jo bhi activity aap log dete hain. For limited audiovisual equipments and examination pressure. Sahi baat hai? So far in the training, we've discussed these are the 8 different constraints that we have. The game is very simple. Please have a look at the screen. There are 2 words that I have. Hidden. You've got to decide what that word is. And this is basically the solution to the problem that we have as a class constraint. We'll get a total of 3 minutes to do this. Number 1, we will do together. Let's start. Ask students to ... and form groups of 4 with the students sitting in the row behind. I think the correct answer to this question is turn around. Ask students to turn around. How much time do we have for this activity? Three minutes. Shivani, let's take the screenshot in the end. I will review all the slides one more time. Thank you. So let's get started. 3 minutes. I'm going to start the timer now. Thank you. Just guess what the words are, hidden words are. Thank you. Whenever you're done, waiting for your answers in the chat box. Thank you. Hi, Vinita. Can you put all the answers together? Write all the answers together and then you can send it. Thank you. Like how Sagar and Shivani did. Other people did. Thank you. Okie dokie. So I'm just slightly conscious of the time. So let's quickly get going. Number 2 is, let's find out, roles. Number 3 is, let's see who's given the answer. Oh, number 3, people are saying sections. Number 2 is roles. Number 3 starts with S. Okay, let's find out. Sentence, I'm afraid. So number 3 is sentence. Number 4 starts with G. Let's see who's given that answer. Graded. Okay. Nobody else? Group. Goals. That's nice. Okay. Number 4 is grade. Graded. Very nice. Thank you. I'll just quickly show you the answers. Number 5 is Blackboard sketches. Becomes a big problem. I always face it. Number 6 is individual. Number 7 is music. And number 8 is C. Sorry, it's not O, it is C. Connection. Thank you, Ravneet. What about other teachers? What do you guys feel? Don't worry. We are not penalizing you for wrong answers. Confidently give your answers. That's fine. Number 8 is, in fact, connections. Thank you. Can we clap for all the teachers for the participation? We appreciate. Thank you. You guys did a wonderful job. My God, my throat is It's gotten horrible. Here we go. Okay, we're almost about to finish. Here we go. Acha, this is something very important. This is the second last slide. We're almost towards the end. Everybody, how's the Josh? Everyone, how's the Josh? In the chat box. All right, cool. Thank you. Superb. All right, cool. Thank you. Here we go. Please have a look. All right, Ulka. Hi, sir. Here we go. So according to research, and we are talking about research done by another linguist, his name is Stewick, 1996. According to Stewick, the role of a teacher has changed. Look at me, please. The role of a teacher has changed from a tap to a gardener. I repeat, the role of a teacher has changed from a tap to a gardener. Now, what is the meaning of a tap? This is very, very important. What is a tap? In the bathroom, in kitchen, what is a tap? So this metaphor, I'm just going to share the screen once again. Please have a look. Metaphor. So this metaphor that we have here, tap pouring water into an empty vessel. पुराने ज़माने में क्या होता था? Teachers की reputation कुछ ऐसी थी. This is a metaphor, by the way, according to Stewick. It's not personal. I have not designed it. I'm telling you what the research says. शुरू में क्या होता था? Teachers were like tap pouring water into an empty vessel. It basically means, this metaphor represents that पिछले ज़माने में traditional grammar based classes जो हुआ करती थी are referred to as tap pouring water into an empty vessel. The teacher has all the knowledge and the students are empty vessels which the teachers are trying to fill with grammar rules and grammar vocabulary. This was the concept according to Stewick 1996. Acha, uske baad kya hua? Then it changed to conductor of orchestras. This is again a metaphor, which means as the situation changed, based on the conditions of the class, the teachers started with basically bringing students in as different players, giving them different opportunities to speak, and basically interaction patterns started originating in the classroom. Number 3 is a gardener. Gardener is a modern teacher. Listen again, please. Gardener is a modern teacher. Gardener means, sorry, I'm trying to speak too much right now. I'm speaking a lot, but I'm just going to make sure that we finish in time. Gardener, I don't want to hold you guys for too long. Gardener means CLT environment mein, for example, in communicative language teaching, the teacher is a gardener. The role of teacher is to supply material, resources, encouragement, motivation, strategies. And what happens? The teacher is trying to rearrange the environment. That means the furniture, for that matter, or bringing in realia, real life objects for this to happen. So today, the teacher gives students the opportunity. The teacher is a very influential force in the classroom today that gives dynamism to a classroom. Today, it is decentralizing the power. I'm a teacher, I am God, I know everything. Nope. I'm a facilitator, I'm going to grow flowers. So according to research, with time, here, teachers are the central figure. Here, teachers are decentralizing the power. I repeat, the teachers are giving power to the students. So you have to decide for yourself after this session today. To all the teachers in the room right now, you have to decide for yourself. What kind of a teacher are you? Are you a tap pouring water into an empty vessel kind of a teacher? Or are you a gardener? It's a very important question for you to think about after this training. And number 4 is the AI-based teacher, most powerful single piece on a cheese board. So for those of you who are attending this meeting, you have to tell me what is the meaning of this metaphor, and you have to send an email to me on my ID in the chat box. This is my ID in the chat box. The last metaphor, please take a screenshot of this. You have to send me a explanation. This is your homework. You have to send me an email. What is the meaning of this metaphor according to Stewick 1996? Teacher, a modern teacher is most powerful single piece on a cheese board. Any questions from here? Unable to see? Are you guys able to see my screen or no? Okay, let me share the screen again. Oh, you can see it. Ranjita, are you able to see the screen? Ranjita, please try reconnecting. Amrita, thank you very much. Ranjita, maybe this is a problem with your network. It's weak. Okay. So the question is, everybody, come back to the board, please. The question is, who are you? Are you reflect on the role that you have as a language, as a linguist, and try to create a new metaphor that describes your personality as a language teacher. You can think about 2 or 3 metaphors and try using it in your interviews or language training courses whenever you're taking part in them. What kind of a teacher are you? On this note, let's quickly recap what we did today. In today's lesson, you guys did a wonderful, wonderful job. So proud of you all. Very, very engaging audience. You spoke about the balance between, we spoke about the balance between intrinsic and extrinsic motivation in the classroom. We also spoke about adapting activities that suit the students. We also spoke about the evolution of knowledge dispenser, which means a tap in the bathroom, to the modern role of a teacher, to an earning facilitator, a gardener. Thank you very much for being a part of this webinar. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please raise your hand and we'll work on it together. If you have any questions, please raise your hand. You don't have to show a thumbs up. You have to raise your hand so that I can unmute you. Sorry about the technical protocol here. If you have no questions, you can say, I'm fine in the chat box. Thank you. Before we end the session, you have to tell what was the most important thing that you learned from the session today. I'm going to show you the AIMS again. What was the most important thing that you learned in the session today? Thank you. I'll give you some time in the chat box. You're welcome, Sneha. Thank you. Sure. I'm waiting. We're talking about what is the most important takeaway from this webinar for you today. Thank you. Vinita says, different ways of teaching from you. Thank you, Vinita. Identifying the student's interest and act upon it accordingly. Ulka. Akash says, tap versus gardener. Ulka says, thank you, you're welcome. Vinita says, excited and excellent way of giving opportunities to the student. Thanks to us, okay? Sneha says, to be a gardener. Yes, that's the most important takeaway of today's webinar. Be a gardener. I repeat, be a gardener. Rakesh says, okay, it's a question. How is an ESL teacher a very important part of the school? And how to understand micro and macros of pedagogy in ESL? Thank you, Rakesh. I 100% agree with you. Thank you. All right, guys, on this note, I would just like to say, well done. Can we clap for everybody? You guys did a wonderful job. I would love to know your feedback. What do you think about today's webinar? After this call finishes, you will be redirected to the reviews page. So please let me know what you think about today's webinar. It would really help me understand. And if there are any topics that you are interested in learning something else in the next webinar. Next webinar is going to be most probably next week. So in case you have any palpitating questions and things that you would like webinars to be conducted on, please feel free to let me know. Lots of love. You guys were great. And ciao, ciao. Thank you. You can also text our senior student advisors, Ms. Aisha or Ms. Aarti or Ms. Parul or other team members, in case you have any questions related to any of the teacher training courses at ESOL, which are conducted time to time. Lots of love. Take care and God bless. Thank you. Bye.